Yep.
Dominate.
Yeah. When are we going to go live, Jeff?
Yeah,
we are live. I was just like, at some point, 7 minutes in, it's like, okay, welcome everyone to the September 2015 My blog guest Hangout.
Oh, wow. Well, you could have told me that. Okay.
I did, but I think it was my little small voice that.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, it did make kind of sense what I was saying, and probably was useful to some degree. Go ahead, Deb.
I don't think you said anything that wasn't Hangout worthy. Well,
okay, cool. Phew. That would be a first. All right. Well, let's go on. Go ahead. Moderate us.
All right. Again, welcome to the My Blog Guest September 2013 Hangout. And we just had someone join us. Hello.
It's Carrie.
And Carrie. Excellent. Hi, Carrie. And Carrie, you don't have to feel obligated to talk. I've been told that I put people on the spot. So there is a chat mechanism if you need to speak to us or say, hey, I want my turn on stage, and I will hand that over. As the room goes quiet.
Oh. Well, you may just want to turn me off. I won't ask you to, but there's a good chance you may just do it anyway. Yeah. All right, so what are we talking about today?
Let's see. Oh, hey, let's start out. Don, could you give us an update on the I got to stop looking at you guys, or it looks like I close my eyes on these Hangouts. I just love looking at all of you. What can I say?
We love looking at you, too.
Oh, thank you. An update on the G Plus community. And the mastermind, I think that's because David, you've been a mastermind guest as well, right?
I have, though I wasn't deserved. But go ahead.
That's been a lot of fun, Deb. We've had some excellent guests. Both you guys have been on there. I think we've had some fun, and more than that, I think we've passed on some really good information, and we've shared a lot. And that whole mastermind concept. I think we talked about that earlier, but the idea, and this is something took me a long time to learn because by nature I'm really a recluse. I would, live in a cabin somewhere and grow my own food and just stay out of town. But the concept is that together we can do more than any of us could do alone. And that not only includes production, but also includes ideas. And just generally encouraging one another. So that's the mastermind concept is to pool our thoughts, our resources, so that we can all grow. And I think that's been happening. We've just had some excellent guests, and it's a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
I think it's great, and I think that as it continues to grow, and as the community continues to grow, and there's more involvement, and I'm sure there's still some fear aspect, to ask the question, and I know even before when I'm writing, I'll rewrite it, and rewrite it, and before I send it, I'm making sure it's okay, and I think everybody needs to realize there are no stupid questions, there are no bad questions. We're all here to enhance our learning abilities, and this week Craig has been, on point, and it's been great stuff. Deborah was great when she was on, and I think that we can all learn and better ourselves as a community, but as either SEO experts or blog experts or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve through being on an MBG community. I really think this mastermind, as it continues to grow and develop, is going to be something that people will want to wrap their hands around and wrap their heads around.
And you were great too, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
He was. The guy's got plenty of stuff. Anyone, by the way, wanting to be on Mastermind, to sit in the hot seat, let me know. The way I've been choosing who to invite is simply every Friday I sit still for a moment and say, okay, who should go next? And, a name pops up and I invite them. And so far, everyone I've invited has accepted. So we're on a roll.
Absolutely. I hear you're trying to get Miss Ann Smarty. I'm sorry, Deb. Miss Ann Smarty for next week. How's that going?
Yeah, I hope we can. And I'm not sure. Ann may, Ann can be real what's the word, supportive, but want to stay behind the scenes. So maybe she'll say, no, that wouldn't be right. But I hope she'll come on because, we all learn from her. And so, we'll see. Yeah, I hope Ann does come on. That'll be great.
Ann, are you listening?
Yes,
She's
Ann,
unable
come
to
on.
join us on this Hangout today, but it's been really great that she has been joining in the Hangouts and giving us updates. And
yeah.
It's tough to be a big player, a big fish. It is hard to get away, but I think it's important for people to try to get involved in this type of stuff or building their own personal brand, as Craig mentioned on this week's mastermind. It's important, with the ever-changing world of SEO, to trying to define yourself as an expert or somebody who knows the field. Your customers will appreciate that, and exchanging of ideas and putting yourself out there is a good way to help build your brand.
And a thing to remember about that as well, if you're thinking about maybe being a hot seat sitter, is you don't have to. It doesn't mean you have to monitor the community 24/7. Just simply check in a few times each day while you're in the hot seat and respond to questions. So the format doesn't have to be rapid fire back and forth. So, Craig's done a good job this week checking in, pardon me, and yesterday he had something to go to. It was a meetup, a function there for his profession, and he let me know. So really it's all great, and it's a lot of fun, and I don't know, it's a good time.
It is, man. I really like the direction the community is going. Sorry, Deborah. I think I've seen the massive growth and more involvement, and we got a really good person who just joined us today who has become very active in the MBG community, and we rely on his posts.
Yeah, Alex is batting in there. Hey, something else that happened this week that was really neat to see? Ann sent out an invitation for people she invited people to join. So, we started seeing these new members joining, and I went ahead and followed up and did the same. So we had we jumped the biggest jump this week that we had prior, I believe. I've been tracking them since we've started. But that's something I want to put out to all you folks out there. Every now and then invite people. When you think of it, just send out an invitation. And we want to think, well, I don't want to bug anybody, but a lot of people come on and they really appreciate that. They appreciate us thinking of them and inviting them to the community. So invite away.
Excellent. And Don, you need to be commended too as far as the mastermind. I was surprised at how much work it took to be in the hot seat, but yet your questions really, the stuff that I wrote there, I have to give you a lot of that credit because you were asking some tough questions that was like, wow, okay, I'll respond to this. I want to go back and see what it was that I wrote because I think you get like 99% of the credit for asking the question.
I agree with that.
Yeah. That's part of being a writer, Deb, and interviewing people. And I hope you felt the same when we did the interview for the article I wrote about you. It was fun, and I love doing that, actually, because you get to know more about people. I learn all the time. And really what I do is I copy things that people write in the community all the time and put them in a notebook for future reference because there's just some good stuff that goes through there. It's fun when we just say, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I had scrambled eggs for breakfast. But when we get into it and talk and pass on some tips, like David is all the time throwing out some great SEO tips, and a lot of the members, Alex there is pitching in with some new ways to do searches and that. It's and Deb, you with the social media, and Carrie's pitching in. It's just fun being a part of it and learning.
It is.
And that's the big thing for me. For me, that's what it's all about. Let's learn together. And that's why we've kept the promotional posts down. At first, we had some pushback on that because people thought, well, I want to, advertise my stuff. But we do it on Fridays, and that's fun. But the rest of the week, we just try and clear it out and say, let's learn. And everybody remember at, www.myblogguest.com, we're open for promotions 24/7. That's the place to do it. The community is an adjunct to that. We're not trying to take over from the main site. We're just trying to help and be a part of it.
You're talking about the social. I like to call it the social love forum, and I moderate that one. That's where I spend most of my time as far as my blog guest forums, is going in and tweeting out all the articles. So yeah, if you want your guest post tweeted, go in there and post it, and not only will I look at it, but also the community. We have a lot.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that existed. What is that?
Yeah.
It's the, I think it's at the bottom, or is it the second from the bottom forum? It's a social help forum within the My Blog Guest. And for anyone that's not signed up that's watching this, it's free membership. Sign up for My Blog Guest account. Wow, it would take me another couple hours to sing all the praises of My Blog Guest. But David, yeah, it's like the bottom or the second to the bottom forum.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. And it's not, and that's a great place to get love for your posts. But people also, you can go into the forums to look for writers and there's just a lot in the forums. Check out the different forums and see what you can do there. There's a number of different ways. You don't have to be a paid member to participate in the forums, except for one. There's a private forum for members only, premium members only, but other than that, it's wide open.
Great
and Don,
tips.
The premium forum, I confess, I don't spend a lot of time in there. It's like when somebody sends me a link, oh, go check out this particular topic. Do you spend a lot of time in that forum? And if so, could you tell us a bit about it?
Well, I can tell you that when I first came on, myself, I was working for a corporation and writing for them and pumping out articles. I wanted to do the writing, but man, I hated doing the switching from the writing, doing the promotion seemed to really bog me down. So when I found My Blog Guest, I thought I was in heaven because, with the galleries, I could just list my articles there and go back to writing. And, the next day, there'd be people having offers, or even right away sometimes offers for the articles. So all that was getting taken care of. My Blog Guest was doing the promotions for me. It was a place, and, I think that was Ann's original idea is putting up a place, making a place where writers and publishers could come together and help one another out. So, because I was a member and a corporate member, then I had access to that private forum, and the really cool thing in there. Now, there's a lot of good stuff, and it's basically just a place. In the general forum discussion group, there's great discussions that go on there, and that's open to everyone. Well, in the private forum, it's the same thing, really. There's banter back and forth, but the big thing in the private forum is Ann has some special things in there where she opens up, shares her resources, where you can ask her for suggestions on angles to take your articles. I mean, it's really cool. She gets involved there, and she just, opens up the store for you. It's just that's my favorite part of the private forum.
Oh,
but
wow.
I haven't.
I didn't even know this was going on, man. I've been spending all my time listening to Don in the community.
Oh, you're blowing it.
So
that's
welcome.
like
I see we got somebody new here too. We got a couple. Alex, how you doing today?
Alex got to unmute.
Oh, we got it on mute. Just want to watch me, you, and Deborah talk.
All right, I unmuted it. It's Stacy.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Stacy. Hey.
Hi, Stacey.
How are you?
I'm good. This is my first video call with the community, so I'm really excited about it.
Excellent.
Awesome.
You have a little friend there, too.
Oh, yes. That's Whispers. She wants to get a little, get in on the call, too.
Oh,
She's
right.
so
Everybody wants their
well-behaved.
50 minutes of fame.
Right?
She's cute.
Yes. Thank you. Well,
welcome.
I'm observing and listening and learning, so I'm glad that this is available.
Well, are you sure you're at the right place? You're listening and learning?
Well, that's the goal.
Listening, I can take credit for it. I mean, I can understand. Learning, maybe Don will share some words of wisdom, but and maybe Deborah. I just talk a lot.
Oh.
Go ahead. Go, Deborah. So what else do we want to talk about today?
Let's see. Our focus. We've been talking about some really great topics too in the Twitter chat on the content marketing. That's been a really interesting series.
Yes, you're talking about on the Thursdays at the Twitter chat.
Yes. So on the Twitter chats. Wow, they Ann and Sana really pick out some topics and dig down and give helpful information. I mean, even if you can't make it, reading the summaries or the archive is really helpful to get some tips on what you can add to your business.
It's true. Valuable links there all the time.
Yep. And if you put anything like wisdom or anything, you might get featured in the summary of your tweet.
I love when I'm quoted in Storify. It makes me feel like I'm something great. You've been quoted in Storify. It's good stuff. I think the community is wonderful, and I think that ultimately we're getting a better class of writers as well. Most of what gets uploaded to your blog is not so great, but in general, I think people are starting to really take a hold of what the new writing requirements are for the most part, and if they not, I mean, the writers have been very receptive to I wouldn't even call it criticism, to help in becoming a better writer. Some of them tell me it's not up to me, my client wants his anchor text in there. I was like, well, you need to educate your client on how this really works. But ultimately, everybody wants to learn and get better and deliver a quality product.
Yeah, David, that's so true. You hit on a really important point there. So many times it's as an agency or as a person who's getting paid to land links, you get focused on that, and it's tough. I remember coming at it, from the other end. I was just trying to get my articles out so I could get links for my company. And here these pesky moderators would, jump in every now and then, right, and say something about the anchor text, or I couldn't have, 2 self-serving links in one article, whatever, and it would, just get irate. As a matter of fact, I got banned for a while. I did, because I was mouthing off, and I thought, but I was looking at it like, the mule kind of deal, right? Do the blinders, is focus. And when Ann and her team finally got my attention, and I realized, hey, and then sure enough too, along comes Google with their algorithm changes, and all the stuff that Ann had been talking about and her team had been talking about was real. It wasn't like, oh, wouldn't this be nice? But prior to that, people were just kind of snickering about it and saying, oh yeah, we're going to do it the white hat way, but really black hat works. Well, all of a sudden there was some changes made that rocked people a bit. And those things started making more sense. So anyway, David, what I'm saying is, when you say it's important to go back to the client, if the client is pushing you and saying, no, I only want this, I only want that, well, go back and talk to them and say, look, here's why it's smart not to try and do what you want to do. Here's why that has changed. And sometimes it's tough, because for years, that those ways worked. Some of those ways worked, and they worked well. Well, things have changed, and sometimes it's hard to change with the times.
It is, and and the point is, and I say this all the time, it's like a broken record, but when you look at, and I look at backlink profiles a lot, and you look at anchors and top pages, and you still see people inundated on the first page. But again, we can't be short-sighted and think about what works for 2 or 3 months. I am also seeing a lot, though. I remember when branded terms were like, if I looked at Ahrefs or Moz or Majestic, they would be like middle of the page. Now I'm seeing branded terms being the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 anchor text on people's profiles. So people are starting to get it, and it took me a while to get it too. I mean, I want commercial anchors the same way as everybody else. I mean, I know commercial anchors are needed, but they need to be done in a way that, the 80-20 rule is how I look at it, but they need to be done in a way that makes sense to the piece and makes sense to the future benefit of your client, because, in 3 months from now, if they're penalized and you're trying to deal with a penguin or a manual penalty or a different algorithmic penalty, I'm telling you, it's not going to be fun. And for the small SMBs, they're not going to be able to spend all the money for you to go and clean up their links and do all this stuff that is necessary to really get yourself out of an algorithmic or a manual penalty. So if you explain it to them in those ways, slow and steady wins the race, that I think they'll get a better understanding of how it should be done.
And David, you know what? We had even after our interview, and I get it, and I'm all for quality and not just dropping links, but yet fall into old patterns. Like writing the article on the Greensboro, it illustrated to me that even I, who say that I don't do this, could fall into it just like out of habit. Like I wasn't intentionally trying to add these links, but it just came out. It's like, okay, this is a focus. This is the keyword phrase. Let's work it in, even without like subconsciously.
And there is a way to do it. I mean, obviously it's harder with local and geographical type stuff because very rarely is it going to be, Greensboro criminal lawyer makes sense in an article. I mean, there's truth to that. Even Don was able to help me in a couple of my pieces where I could get a branded link into the context of the piece by using first person or being creative in a way that can get the branded link. And one day branded links will probably be the only thing that really will matter. I mean, Google is getting better at handling semantic relevances, so that as long as you're making the article about what it is you're trying to accomplish and trying to rank for, and making sure that the words surrounding the anchor text are relevant to the subject matter, which takes skill. Google's going to reward you for it. Eric Ward, who Link Moses, is probably one of the most well-known link builders, and I've said this before on the community, and I'm part of his private newsletter. I mean, that guy has never built a commercial anchor in his whole entire life. Now, when you work with TV Guide, TV Guide is the anchor. So, bad example. And we work with Amazon, you have lots of links, but there's plenty of people who are not utilizing, and not worrying about the commercial anchors as much as they used to, and are doing well. So we just need to work together, and as everybody starts to gravitate away from going after commercial anchors, we'll all be playing on a more even playing field as well. So it will make it better for everybody.
Right on. One simple thing people can do is stop thinking that byline is the only place you can put your link, and stop trying to force the byline to fit the link. Many times that link can go into the body text real easily. Frees the byline up to concentrate on the author, and then when you put that link into the body text, surround it with some good reference links to help the reader out. What I love to see is when you look at an article and it's tough figuring out which is a self-serving link here and which isn't. That's the way to do it.
It is, and it gets harder. I mean, you have to make sure that you're writing good, not only external blogs, but internal blogs, because a lot of what you're going to reference as a resource or authority link in the body of a piece is probably going to go to a blog article written about that subject. So, I mean, Don does this very well in his pieces, and I follow the links all the time, and so I can learn not only more about the piece, but to see what others are doing to bring their branded links or their links in the context of the piece. And it's usually not going to land on your homepage. Very rarely, unless it's a specifically branded link where you're doing like a first person to some degree, it's going to land on a subject matter that's relevant to the article. So pay as much attention as writing good internal blogs as you are on external blogs, and then as you build up that database on your blog, you'll be able to reference one or two of those blogs and then redirect the link juice from those blogs to stuff within your site, because on internal blogs it's okay to internally link to your own pages to some degree, so you can transfer and flow page rank in a way that will benefit you in that manner, and stop trying to force it to hey, I want to get deep links on all my pages too, I want to get good links on my homepage too. We just need to figure out a way to do it where it's going to be beneficial both short term and long term. And I learned a lot of that from Don by reading his initial posts, and I didn't even know it was his site at first. And I'm like, where did you come up with these links? These are great. And I looked at his site, and they made total sense to the piece. Now he's got lots of relevant articles, so the thing about that, and I know he keeps a list of his blogs that he writes, so he's able to reference them in the future, so he can use those resource links. So if he's writing about say for instance, if he's writing about drug crimes and he knows what blogs he's written about drug crimes, it's very easy to try to fit those in as anchors within the body of the context, which a contextual link is obviously going to be much more valuable than a byline link in the first place anyway.
Okay, Don, share your tips on that. Like, do you have a spreadsheet?
Well, yeah, of course I use Excel, but the number one tip is put yourself in the reader's place and say, okay, what points here would I as a reader perhaps want some additional information? And then provide a link to a really good source of information. And one thing I try not to do is use them only for if the piece I've written, if there's a better source of information, I'll use that better source of information. Because at the end of the article, you want the reader to say, hey, this is a good article. Maybe share it, comment on it, let others know. And they do that. It's easy to tell when you click on a link and it goes to nowhere, or buy Viagra, and you think, what in the world? Even if it's a good article, you'll never share it, right? It's like, who wants to do this? So think of the reader. I think that's the whole. There's no secrets, I don't think.
I think that's good advice.
Take the blinders off. Take the blinders off.
And it is, and that's how I look at it. When I look at an anchor text on a link, and I tell my writers the same thing, is, the anchor text of that link should define where I'm going. I should know what I'm going to see and whether I want to go there by the anchor that surrounds it. That doesn't mean, being a forced commercial 2-word or 1-word commercial phrase. It could be a whole sentence. It could be 4 or 5 words, but it needs to be representative of the information I'm going to find on the other side. So when I go there, that's what I should be finding. If you're talking about a study on plastic surgery, then that article should be about that study. If you're quoting a person, and Don makes this point all the time, and when he edits your articles on Elite, resource link. This quote should have a resource link. Where did it come from? What is it doing? And I think, if like with Don saying, if you have a great internal blog on your site that can be what I like to call more authority type links, then feel free to use it. But if you're going to get a better source of information someplace else, then in essence, think about the reader, and because you're going to build a following. And as you build followings, you're going to need to rely less on ranking, even though ranking is important, and more on making money from all the visitors you're getting from writing great articles.
I think that says something about the writer, too, as far as if you're willing to link to something that you feel is better even than your own article. That says something about how much you care about the reader.
And it's not good to say co-citations, but there's like the 6 degrees separation of Kevin Bacon also works with anchor text and links. So you surround your links with other relevant links, and then those people are linking each other, and now you've actually gotten some good relevancy and making benefit from it.
Yep, join the club.
Now, for those people watching that say, "Huh? What is co-citation?" So you want to go ahead and give like a little mini coaching paragraph on co-citation.
Well, there's some good resources out there, and I posted them before. But basically, what a co-citation is if it's basically site A links to site B, and site A links to site C, that there's a relevancy between sites B and site C. So it creates this cross-relevancy. You don't necessarily have to get a link from a site to get the benefit of the ranking, especially if I link the site, if I'm linking to a site and that site links back to me, and then that site links to site B, and I mention both of them in my article, I'm going to get the benefit and the connection of, because C and B link together and A and C link together, then I'm going to get the relevancy of that connection, and that's how it works.
Isn't that the transitive property? Is that what it's called? If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C?
I guess it sort of kind of is. Absolutely. Wow, we are just learning all kinds of things today.
Hey,
Don,
I love
you want to
math.
add something to that?
Well, yeah, as a writer, one thing that kind of relates to that, this idea of authorship, right? Authorship markup, claiming your own stuff. There's been lots of speculation about that, and I kind of try and stay out of the speculative end of things, but I was thinking just this morning, David, about that thing as it relates to co-citation, as it relates to authors, because I received an email from someone saying, hey, Here's what we want to do. We have these great writers. They're going to write this stuff. All you need to do is use put it under your name, use your authorship, and get it on some good blogs, and then we'll pay you for it. So oh great, right? I don't have to write. All I got to do is well, hold it. Think about that. If I'm Here's what I'm saying to writers. Be careful. Right now especially, we're in the beginning stages of this whole authorship thing. It's like when, there was a time when people were getting by doing all kinds of stuff with SEO and then got slammed. Those who were wise protected their sites and didn't let a bunch of spammy links come on board and didn't link to them and didn't, go for the pay me $10 and I'll give you 1,000 links. So writers, look out and treasure your authorship right now, and don't let people come in and go, hey, we just want to use your authorship, and then maybe that sounds like easy money, but I don't think in the long run it's gonna hurt you, not help you. So
solid advice.
Be careful, treasure it.
Yeah, and actually, pay you to write the article too, and then this way you can have control of the whole thing.
But even then, guys, be careful, you writers out there, and I know what it's like to be a starving writer. My stomach's growling right now. So, writers it's a tough market. But be careful. Don't, if somebody asks me to write an article for them, the first thing I always ask is, okay, where do you want this art? Where do you want the links to go? What sites are you supporting? Because the same thing. If I'm gonna write an article and I'm gonna claim it, then it's not only has to be a good article.
That's a good point.
Right, but the links have to go to places where are good places. I just don't want to be associated with.
That's a good.
The other side of the carpet.
I actually got into something similar to that today. A writer company had reached out to one of my clients. My client is friends with one of the people he writes for, and one of the things I said, yeah, I'm always looking for great, new, compelling, interesting, well-written writing. Here's my rules, but I also need to take a look at the site that you're planning on linking to. Because that connection in itself can, beside what Don's saying, can harm you. I mean, if you're getting a link from a bad site or giving a link to a bad site, who knows how that's all going to work down the road. So we want to protect ourselves. And if if somebody's coming and reading something on your site and your site's pointing back to it, even if it's a guest author or a different author, there's still that connection. So you want to make sure, like what Don's saying, and who you're linking to and who getting links from are very important.
You're known by your friends, right, Deb?
Yep.
Did your mom ever tell you that?
Yep.
I never listened to mine, but she always told me.
Either. Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
To everybody.
Of course, the company I keep probably did represent me, but it was exactly what I wanted. But yeah, it's true. You're defined, in this day and age, defined by who you associate with. And we're all trying to earn a living one way or another, whether it's managing our own blog or working with clients on SEO or writing for agencies or writing for websites. I mean, we're here doing different things: social media, video, and ultimately, you're judged by who you associate with, and what we're trying to do. So, if you don't respect yourself, others aren't going to respect you as well. So let's take pride in what we do and do it the best that we can. And this is coming from somebody who pointed as many commercial anchors to his client side as he possibly could not too long ago. I'm going to be the first one to admit it. It worked. I did it. And, luckily none of my clients really got banged. And if they did, I could probably just change their domain and do it all over again and fix it in each client representative. So, hey, I've grown and become more stringent in the processes that I do. And it's been a slow road. The last year, my clients, they've dropped a couple spots on a couple keywords. And I see others pointing in front of me. I look at their link profile and they got 5,000 backlinks with 20 referring domains, and they all are commercial keywords, and I'm like, what is going on here? But now I'm starting to see the results of that. I'm getting better quality links, even though they're fewer and far between like they used to be. But you don't need as many links as you think you do, especially on the local SEO side. So, slow and steady does win the race. And you'll be here in a year from now, and, the same people who are doing what they're doing, they won't be. So, just bear with it, do it right, and everything will work out in the end.
You sound just like, I interviewed Terry Van Horn, and he's like SEO Dojo. Just talked to him a couple days ago. He's talking about how he always focused on quality. He's not one that worships Google as far as, okay, Google says this, so I'm going to do this. He does what he feels is right, and that has to do with quality. And he said, we were on the 3rd page, and the last algorithm update, we were number 3. And he said, it pays off. We were diligent. We just kept doing what we felt was right and sticking with the quality. And what I called it was a common sense SEO, and it paid off. Overnight.
It's true. It's true, and I'm telling you, Hummingbird, if you're not aware and haven't read, is the new, the major search algorithm by Google that replaces, I guess, since the last update was caffeine update. Google's getting smarter, and I noticed, some drops on some people that weren't doing things necessarily the right way with the past month, and but yet I never saw the Moz casting, and I track these stupid things, but it's the weather and temperature changing. So, and everybody was talking about, and I know we talked about it here, and we talked about the weather in one of our Twitter chats, but there wasn't that fluctuation. Well, now we know that a month ago, the Hummingbird was released, and so. The people who are doing it right are the ones that are benefiting from this. Maybe a year ago, you were laughing at them. Ha, 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 I got all these commercial anchors printing and my client's on page 1. Well, now your clients can't even sniff the first page for their own name. And now these guys are on page 1. And, the classic tortoise and the hare race, the tortoise and the hare story, the tortoise is laughing all the way until the finish line. And then, the hare is laughing all the way to the finish line. And then who winds up winning? So, you got to do it the right way.
And David, what's the change this week as far as the keywords?
Well, there's really no change as far as keywords. Google just announced, in case you didn't know, that for the past month they released basically a new search algo called Hummingbird, which is supposed to be, faster and more precise. And I guess since, they were saying since 2003 there hasn't been such a significant change to the Google's algorithm. And I guess the last major update was caffeine. Now, Hummingbird is still using some of the old formula. They didn't throw the parts out that were working, but now they're making it better and becoming more. Basically, instead of being so keyword driven, at least that's what they say. Before they would pick out the main keywords in a search string. So if I search for washer and dryers, Samsung, it would look for those specific keywords. Now it's looking at the intent of your phrase, or you be able to and actually analyzing every word in the search string to get a result. And it was an article I read yesterday. I think it was Search Engine Journal, that actually talked about, or today, that Google gave examples of what a search used to be before the update and what the search yielded now on a few different things. And it was pretty drastic how things changed. So if you're not familiar with Hummingbird, read about it. Nothing you need to do differently than the stuff that we've been doing, quality moving forward, but just realize things are changing. So you don't want to get penalized, and you don't want to focus on keywords, even though keywords are important, even though we can't see them now anymore in our analytics. But so there's a new update, and so things are rapidly changing. Don, you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you're right on with the idea of keep it relative. We need to know what. There's another thing, I guess, David, is the idea of that relativity. I'm trying to think which end to go on this. As a writer, let's say I put an article out there and I have some offers for it. Well, my article's about organic gardening, and I have a slam bam offer from a tech site, right? Why they want the article, I don't know, but I look at it and I go, wow, look, these guys, everybody looks at PageRank. It's PageRank, 5. I want to go there. And then I have another little, PageRank 0 site that writes about organic gardening that wants it. So I look at it and I see that this, and here's one thing I love to do. I love to do this, and I don't know why people don't do more of this. I like to look at sites that are up and coming, that aren't PageRank 5 yet, that don't have a lot of clout yet, but they're cool sites, and you can tell people care about them. They're getting comments. They're developing a community. You look at it and you go, if I put my organic gardening article here, then number one, it's relative. It's like it fits here. And second, these guys might be, not too recognized yet. They've maybe for whatever reason, and they're going to grow. So I like those sites, right? And I definitely prefer those over putting an article on a site that's not relative. Somebody that's just looking for content. So relativity is a big word.
Oh, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Topical, geographical, those are all important aspects to, getting where you should put your pieces in relation to your subject matter. Metrics are just that. They're a basis for understanding. And maybe, like I know Alex talked about this week on Ask a Question to Craig in relation to, how, I got this DA is lower than this DA. How do I know which ones to pick? Well, I mean, ultimately it's going to come down to the eye test. It's, it's the stuff that you're going to measure. But, there is a way to weed out. I mean, if you're looking at, 50 sites that you would like to outreach to, DA and PA not even PA, because, each blog page is going to be a brand new page. So PA is really irrelevant. So DA you would look at, PageRank hasn't been updated in forever, so that's not really a good metric. Maybe you'd look at Alexa Rank to see what kind of traffic the site's getting, and then you're going to look at their social. Are they being active? Are people leaving comments? Do they even have social? I mean, so many blogs I go to, they don't have the main social media profiles. I mean, I don't care what their metrics are. I'm not posting there. It's like, just because, like Don said, at PR5 today or DA 50, whatever it is, means nothing today if that site is penalized 2 months from now, and that DA 20 today that's topical and relevant and is getting tons of engagement from their followers, you can better believe that the next update they're going to go from 20 to 30 to 40, and they're going to keep on growing. So it's important. Just like any business takes a while to grow. You're going to get more goal and more relevancy out of a link that's 20 today and 50 tomorrow than a place that's 50 today and 20 tomorrow. So I think topical relevancy, geographical relevancy, subject matter relevancy, those all play important, more so than sticking an organic gardening site blog on a technological site. I don't care if they're a PR 9. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And Google's not getting as smarter. It's getting so much better at this. They may even penalize you for putting your organic gardening site, blog on a technological site because it's not relevant. And they'll think that you're gaming the system by, going after links because, everything to them is link earning now, which is a subject matter all in itself. But so you can get penalized for that. So, Don makes a total lot of sense that, get your metrics and then go and look at your site. Are they appearing for their brand name? Can you take a keyword in their title and put it in a search box and they're appearing on that search? Are they getting interaction? How many pages are being indexed versus how many links that they have? These are things that will help determine, which sites you should really look at. But ultimately, it's going to come down to, you going and clicking on the site. Do you like what they offer? Do you like the UI? Do you like the UX? Are they getting engagement? And those are the factors that are going to matter the most.
Definitely. Hey, guys, we have some questions. So I think you can see them. Tell me if you can't see them, but if you click on the Q&A on the left, I'm going to start popping those up. In fact, and this is convenient because one of them is from Alex, and Alex happens to be here as well. So, here we go. I just popped at the top. So Alex asks, when I get a message like this, user Ann Smarty has scheduled your article, and it gives the name of the article. The article will be published at, and it gives a time. It won't be available at the following URL until this date. Is it safe to assume that? And the answer would be yes, that you can see it on that link. But, I'm sorry. I was thinking Ann. Okay, let me restart on the pronouns because I'll have us chasing our tail pretty soon. But Don wants to add something to that. It's true. It's a notification that your article has been scheduled, but you won't be able to view it until it's actually live. Anything to add to that or any other questions, Alex?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi,
we
Alex.
can hear you, Alex.
Hi. No, I'm just so scared to press anything because I feel like if I press the wrong thing, I'm gonna of this Hangout. But I was just wondering because it says typically a week because the first time I got accepted as a writer to another site, I got the same exact email, and so to me it seems like a form email, which isn't bad. I'm just making an observation, but I'm just wondering, does the week, give the publisher time to make changes and like why it seems so standard and why does it seem like a form email? Which again isn't bad. I'm just wondering, is that a system thing or is that by design? Is that done with a purpose to give the publisher time to just enhance the article with graphics or whatever?
Are you meaning why is the response? Why does it read like a form email? Is that kind of more?
Yeah, and with that standard, like 1 week, like, I mean, that's
That can
fine.
vary. The
Yeah.
timing can vary, but
Uh-huh.
from a functionality programmatic aspect, I would guess that it's there so that it actually gets done. So that you click a button, once you schedule, it's automated. The My Blog Guest system will send that out with the idea that it's better that you get a form letter and some kind of notification that it's going live than no notification at all. But that still allows the publisher to go in and send a PM or any kind of communication beyond that. But I think that my blog guest and Anne's goal is that there are basic standards that are followed as far as communication so that no one kind of drops between the cracks.
Yeah. And remember too, Alex, that publishers often have a publication schedule. They have things queued up that they're going to be hitting going to drop them the next week or two. So maybe they'll have to schedule you on out there, or maybe it's they have Halloween, for instance. People are writing Halloween posts right now. Publishers are taking them, but chances are they're not going to be publishing those until closer to the date. So it's a way of just getting things in queue.
That's a good point.
But no worries. I know the first time I did that and somebody scheduled one and I clicked on it and it's a dead end. Well, it's only right now. It's coming and they'll let you know when it's going to go live. But right now it's still just a draft.
Okay.
We have another question, but I think it might be an answer to your. I'm going to pop it up. Can you guys see them in the Q&A?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will pop this one up. And then I love having Hangouts where people can watch my eyes as I
as you're looking away.
Yes. Yeah, I think
That's a cool tool.
it is. It's cool. Now, here's one. And I don't want to butcher anyone's name. Is it Jayton? Am I pronouncing? Ask, is anchor text important or not in the quality article?
Ooh.
Yeah, David's already spoken quite a bit to that, but I'll throw in my bit and let him add some more. On the writer's side, yes, it's important, but it's important both ways. It can either hurt you or it can help you. So the main thing as a writer that I want to do with my anchor text, and David pointed it out earlier, is make sure it's accurate. Make sure that anchor text describes where I'm headed. Now, as a writer also, that can be a place where keywords can be used, and if it's appropriate. But the main thing I look at with my anchor text is does it describe the place where it's going? And two, I don't link to anything. Anchor text is only because you have a link. If you don't have a link, you don't need anchor text. Well, I don't link stuff just to link something. There's always a purpose. So, and that purpose is always to help the reader understand. So if I'm referencing a research report about caffeine and organic gardening, then how to use your cigarette butts in your organic garden. Well, and there's a research report out, then I'll link to that research report. So go ahead, David.
No, that's pretty much on the money. And but I mean, if you're talking in terms to anchor text in regards to rank, then yes, the anchor text to some degree is still important in terms of rank. But like Don said, you can't manipulate the article anymore to just get your anchor text in. You have to, and again, Google doesn't need that exact phrase anymore. They're good at understanding what stuff is about. So make sure exactly what Don said is that if you're pointing out to something that it makes sense to educate the reader further on that. And I've taken that approach, and it's a new thing for me, to be completely honest, since I've been part of MBG, really looking at stuff. As I'm reading one of my writer's articles or any article, I'm looking at those things. I'm emulating what others are doing. I'm following the links to see what they're doing, and then I'm, making sure that we're utilizing those approaches. A lot in the beginning, my writers are putting anchors, 1 word, 2 words, and I'm like, no, that's not what the link is about. That's not what you're telling them, and they've gotten much better at improving that. So again, Don is right. If you're talking about in terms of SEO, I would look at trying to get an 80-20 rule, 80 branded, 20% commercial. That's still pretty much the golden rule as far as backlinking, but it can't be forced. So, but in that regard.
Good point. Thank you, guys. Okay, I think I can answer this one, but you guys can correct me if I'm not understanding the question correctly. But the question, hi there, can anyone tell me how to participate in live discussion? If you're referring to the My Blog Guest Hangouts, if you're watching on the event page, I post the link where you can actually click on that and come right in, just like all of our wonderful panelists here. If you're watching this on like the Google Hangout page, my recommendation, and this isn't meant to be a pitch, but it really is the most helpful way to do this, is to join the My Blog Guest community, and the event is always within that community. So we have these on the last Friday of every month, and you're certainly welcome. As long as there's a spot there, everyone's welcome to come join. Well, everyone within reason. You can't come on and just sit and pass gas for an hour. So you need to contribute something to that.
Is this Freaky Friday or what's going on here? And you can see we're very loose here at the MBG community. You can come on here, and there's no way. And if you do come on, everybody is welcome. And there's no expert thing to this. We're all just sharing ideas and communicating with one another, and you can talk or not, or be involved or not. Obviously, we'd want you to be more involved, and we want people to ask questions, and we want people to talk, or you want people to talk, I should say. But yes, that's it.
And I'm really working on not, since Phil points it out, not putting people on the spot. So if you come in and you want to be put on the spot, then just yell. No, don't yell. But on the chat, try to welcome people as they come in and give you an opportunity so that if you really do want your stage time, you can have that.
Yeah, this is great training and great practice, and again, great personal branding. People are just like you guys are. Instead of you be up here, they'll be watching you, and you'll be making an impact. You can invite your customers to come and check you out if you want to, and I'm sure this is going to be somewhere saved and live, and you can send it to them, and this is a great marketing opportunity for you.
Definitely. And you get to have, when you talk, I actually snap a picture of you. Have you seen the videos?
No, I haven't.
And post them on the channel, but there's like a little slide through that shows a picture of you and your company,
nice.
Whatever you have on that one. So you get a little exposure on that one too.
Well, cool. Hold on, let me make sure. Look okay there. All right.
It's not on it's on the full version of the Hangouts. It's not on the takeaways, the little short one. So if you ever want to see who participated, you kind of slide the images across, and whatever you have in your lower third then will show up. It's not like I'm
gotcha.
So, and I try to, if somebody doesn't have a lower third, I try to figure out what they might want promoted and add that.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, thanks, guys. Guys meaning, not gender specific to Thanks all of you for joining us. This has been fun as always. And for anyone watching, please do join us in the D+ community and also at myblogguest.com.
MBG, baby, all the way.
Exactly. Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Daisy. Bye.